All right, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. So today we're going to be doing part two of this color pencil piece. As you can see right here, we've got it already laid out. See my little hamster, and it's on your dime, or it's your dime. Sorry, that's how it says. It's your dime. Painting. So, well, actually drawing. It's going to be a color pencil piece, of course. But just want to let you guys know, usually I give you guys a little bit of an update on what things are going. This is going to be a art chat, so if you are working maybe with a color pencil piece and you're wanting to ask questions, or if you're needing help with something, or maybe you're stuck on something and you just want to ask questions, and it could be actually not just a color pencil, but any medium, you're more than welcome to ask me. Or if you're just wanting to draw and do your own little artwork while listening and chatting along, you can do that too. So more than happy to have you guys here. The other thing I want to cover is for this week, tomorrow I should have the Powerful, or the first review of the Powerful Packs August 2024 box. So the first review of opening the box, showing you guys what's inside, and going over the supplies that they've given us in the box, will be released tomorrow. And then I will end up doing a speed painting using the supplies in that box, and then I'll give you guys a final review. Now that will be on a second video, so you guys are going to end up getting two videos, separate videos, on the Powerful Pack box for August 2024. So super excited. I love the Powerful Pack boxes. And then excuse me. And then for Patreon, I know usually I give out my postcards. I will actually be giving you guys, I don't want to really be a spoiler alert, but I am going to give you guys a card instead of a postcard, because I had just ordered some cards in using some of my designs that I have, or some of my paintings, and I wanted to give you guys that instead for this month, or actually it would be for July's thank you. But the shipping on that was supposed to be on Monday, and it's not in. I've been checking it, and today I thought it was supposed to be today. It is right now. It should be on the last stages of getting here, so I'm thinking hopefully tomorrow I will receive that card and I will be giving it out to you. Also, I'll be sticking probably something else in that card just for you, for having to wait a little bit longer on receiving that. So hopefully those come in for you. But super excited. I wanted to show the cards off, but I don't have them yet, so it's kind of a bummer. Anyways, let me go ahead and let's just get started. Looks like I'm like way away from you guys. You guys can't even see me. It's because I turned it. Maybe you might be able to see me when I work. There we go. So that way I can see you guys. Oops, I just knocked over the camera. Let me pick that one back up. And this all set up and it was all perfect, and then what happened? I messed it up. Okay. So we were working on the leather piece right here in the center. I started working on this a little bit, and then we were going to do this whole entire leather strap. It's going to be the same thing as this one and this one. I'm just going to be using the exact same colors that I did last week, which looks like majority of it is just polychromos colors. So it's like just picking out shades of dark pink, a mid-tone, a dark, and a light, and then having like my brightest color right here, which is a pink white, is what I've been using to lighten it. I haven't went over to my Chinese white yet, but if I need to, I will use it, but I want to wait toward the end for that. So I did add a layer here, but we're going to have to go over that again. So I just want to add in some of my, kind of like my darker tone of pink. Just want to add that right in here to give it a little bit of shade. I'm lightly going in, I'm adding in my circles. Definitely want to go in and around this. Now, I don't want to burnish it because then I can't add any more layers if I need more layers to it. I will definitely want it a little bit darker on this side. Underneath the metal. It's going to be more of a gold color. And then I'll go to my lightest pink. And I'll just add that in right on top. And I'll kind of blend it down into some of this mid-tone or this darker pink that I had. Just to do any kind of fill-ins. I'm going to take my darker of my pinks here and I'm going to add in these little digits. Let's move this over so I don't touch it. This is my darker shade that I've been using of a pink or magenta. Just to kind of add where these little seam lines of thread would be. Then I'll end up going back over it, like over the top of it, and adding in my lighter pinkish white here. Sometimes I catch myself almost going cross-eyed on this. So if you see me stop and just like having to take a second look at this, that's most likely the reason why. Kind of went a little bit cross-eyed. I'm going to take some of this lighter color to the outside edge of this also. Okay. I'm also going to blend with my odorless mineral spirits on this just to make sure it's nice and smooth. But I don't want to use that much of my odorless mineral spirits because I don't want to like wash it away. Always remember that whenever you use your odorless mineral spirits, it will be just a little bit of a shade darker than what it will actually be once it dries. So it'll dry a little lighter, but when you first use it, it may be a little bit darker. I think that's pretty much it. Just a little bit of blending, not much. There, that looks good. Okay, so now we're going to go in here and we're going to do the same thing that we did with this and this, but we're going to do it all the way around. So I'm going to use the exact same colors, these 4 different colors that I have right here. I guess I could show you in front of this camera. So these are the only colors that I've really been using, except for this color here I did use once, and it is it's like a red violet. So it's just like a darker type of color, like a violet color, and I did that for underneath here to give it a little bit more darker shadow, and right in here along the edge line to give it a little bit more of a darker shade. But that is what I've been using, is just sticking with these colors. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to erase the pencil that's on here. So I'm just going to use my electric eraser. I just feel like it just goes a little bit quicker. And I'm going to use my little brush here to sweep away any kind of eraser dust so that way I'm not rubbing with my hand and getting a bunch of oils or blowing on it and getting a bunch of saliva all over it. So I try and use my little brush whenever I can to get some of these little dust particles off. We're probably going to get to right to here with it before I end up, and we'll just do this until we get our first layer in, and whenever it's drying, because I'm going to blend with my odorless mineral spirits, then I can continue on. So that I'd like to work in kind of like little chunks or little areas there. Let's get some of that. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Let me get a little bit of this right in here where I'm going to be butted up against it and just go ahead and erase it. There. My eraser didn't. I don't like rubbing it with my finger, but kind of got a little bit of eraser there. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and get this started. But the first thing I want to do too before you start, is just make sure that your pencils are sharpened. I probably don't need this. Well, yeah, I do need this darker one, but let's go ahead and get this sharpened real quick. Did I get a no good sharpener? Could have picked out a no good sharpener. This one ain't working out too well for me. I'm gonna have to get some more sharpeners. Oh, that one works. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So let's go ahead and pick up my light pink. And I'm just going to kind of work this edge here. Actually just going to be like almost as if I'm drawing it out again. Okay. And then I'm going to go in. I'm going to very lightly go in and just fill this in with my lighter pink here. Probably all along the edges. It almost looks like got some darker tint to that. So as it rounds, because it is a little bit round, it's not flat, it just kind of rounds around the purse here. It does have a little bit of a shade of a darker color. So up here, considering that the light is basically hitting this, I definitely want to go over this with a little bit of my light pink here. just along the top edge. And it's gonna be not gonna be too big of a drastic change or anything like that. But as I layer and I put that in there, it will end up being a lot better. Now I'm gonna take my mid-tone. It's kind of a little bit darker of a pink. And I'm gonna start shading in just very lightly around the edge. And I'm actually going to follow through with that and make it a little bit darker as we're going toward the bottom here. Oops. Okay. Now to make it just a little bit darker. Oh, there's Icy. Hey, how are you? Hey, Keiko. Finally caught alive. Hope all is well. Yeah, I'm glad you guys made it. I am super excited. I love your, let's see here. How are you doing? I love your rings. Oh, thank you. Which one? I got this one here. This one here is whenever I was driving, and I used to drive like over the road. So I was actually an over the road driver. And so for each year of safety and not getting in any accidents and all that time for customers, they gave me a diamond for each time. So I like got a lot of diamonds for it, which I don't know. I really did like that. I was like, yay, I got a whole bunch of diamonds. So I'm going to take this darker color, and as we rounded it, it's going to get a little bit darker underneath. So I'm going to shade that in with my darker magenta color. Yeah. But yeah, I think I drove for, gosh, I started back in 2014 or something like that. I don't remember if it was 14 or it's been a while. But yeah, definitely been there for a little bit and worked and earned every single bit of them. I mean, my goodness. Thing that was cool though is being able to see like the whole country and be able to, see everything and then see all the weather that goes along with it. So that was always fun too. I always try to take my camera so that way I can get good pictures. Are you still doing those imaginary drawings? Just wondering. No, I have not. I tried after I did those, I matted them and everything, but I don't have frames to put them up. Oh, trucking isn't so fun these days. No, it's not. Hey, I totally agree with you 100%. And it's like a lot of the companies have just gotten to where it's more strict and it's just getting less fun. So it took the fun out of it. Back in the day, like it was definitely different, but nowadays it's like, yeah, it's not as fun. And as far as the imaginary drawings, I haven't been doing any more imaginary drawings just out of nowhere because, like, I just I haven't. I actually tried to incorporate them into one big painting for my daughter, but it's like I didn't really care for it too much. I was like, this looks a little bit too spooky to add in her room, even though she would like it. So I didn't do anymore. I need to do some more though. I mean, it is fun. Instead, it's like I had these ideas of doing a hamster in a purse. I don't know, it's your dime kind of painting or drawing here. I was like, I really want this for my room. Little greedy little hamster went in the purse. It's your dime. Okay. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna end though. I will come up with something. I'll be sitting out there and like go outside. I'll be sitting and next thing you know, something will hit me that I have this crazy idea and I'm sure it'll be back. I'm gonna put in this dark line here, which is where the light is not hitting it. Oh, thank you so much, Ice Tea. Yeah, I definitely come up with stuff. Some stuff it's just like, yay, it ends up being good, and then other times it's just like, I know I could do better. I don't know. I created that log, you know, that tree one with the face in the middle, and it was, I forgot what it was. Like, I did the tree with the face. Eat your dog. Last is over. Iced tea. There we go. I drive a flatbed and this heat is a killer. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I would say so. Whenever I drove, I was in the I was doing the reefer. I was in the reefer division, so I was not the one that got in the heat outside putting on a tarp. I can tell you that. Like I couldn't do it. Like it's a lot more work to do it. I know that. Um Heck, I didn't even like it whenever you were in the wintertime and they came out with those auto socks to put on in the winter. And I tell you what, I don't know, I didn't like them. You know what? Iced tea, I was also thinking too, like that would be a good idea to do iced tea, but I was like, the theme of the month for over on Patreon is water. So I was like thinking, you know what? Whenever you say do a glass, you know, a glass of iced tea, you know, that's a good idea. It really is, especially for a theme of the month, because anything water related and in order to make iced tea, you have to have water. So that would be good. That's a very good idea. Now I did do a glass of water with lemons dropped in it. Okay, so we put those around. That's where my little seam lines are going to be, or my little threads. Oh, this part here is a killer. When it comes to your eyes and trying to focus on the little bitty strands here. May have put those in. Too close to the pink there. These will come out lighter. Did you really want to subscribe to? Oh, really? Aw, well, thank you. That makes me feel good. Even though you can subscribe to other people, it's like you can do that too. I feel like I'm greedy. I'm like, oh, well, that's super, super nice. That's awesome. I know that there's other artists that I have followed and I do like also. Like I like listening to them and sometimes I watch them too whenever they come on. If I have enough time. Otherwise, I'm still working on all this stuff and working on Patreon and trying to do the next video or come up with stuff. So, if I do have time, I do have other subscribers that I like to watch. Um, so and sometimes it's like whenever you listen to them, it's it can vary. Like some people, how should I say this? Like everybody is different. So no matter what, it's like you can listen to somebody, they may tell you something else different than they kind of contradicts each other. And I notice that sometimes whenever I watch um some of the ones that I watch, like other artists that I like to watch. And there were some things that I'm just like, what? I don't know. I don't know if I really truly believe in that, even though I really like what you're talking about, but then sometimes they come around and they end up figuring it out and it's like, okay, I feel better now. You're not going. It's my favorite YouTuber ever. Oh, thank you so much, I see. Oh, you're gonna make me blush now. Be like, you're gonna see me like starting to color, and I'll be like, da 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 da. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Definitely made my day. That definitely makes my day. Okay, I'm gonna go through here with, and I think I already did, but I may have to do something about my thread here. We'll go over it with the odorless mineral spirits and see what I did. I may have to erase some of those little lines because I did put down the pink first before I actually added in my white or my lighter color for the thread. So it changes the tone of it. So I may actually have to come back through with an eraser and adjust that if I made it too dark. Let me see here. Now, on the reference photo for this, I actually took this myself. This was actually my purse, and I have just took my own photos of it. We're gonna make this a little bit darker here too, because it's definitely going to have a shadow, and actually probably needs to be a little bit darker. So we may even take out this one here, which is the red violet, and come through here and add even a darker tone to this. And I'm just kind of lightly going. I don't want to push down hard. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see here. My friend loves your art, but she doesn't have an account on YouTube, so she can't subscribe. She says hi. Oh, well, tell her hi for me. Awesome. Aw. Yeah, YouTube is very, very addictive, I can tell you that, because they always got the YouTube shorts and they got YouTube, and I absolutely love it. Like, I like putting it on my TV and I'll just watch things from YouTube on my TV. So I am definitely a YouTube fan. And I try to make it interesting for you guys too. Especially the Powerful Pack boxes. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be doing those. And just to let you know, you can thank my son for that because my son got me the box and said, here you go, Mom. He goes, I got you the Powerful Pack box so you can do your reviews on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm super, super, super excited. It was like the best thing ever. So when he did that, I hopefully I'll be able to go ahead and get another box ordered for September. And that way we can do another review, another speed painting. Those are a lot of fun. So I don't know, Iced Tea, have you seen those, or Keiko, have you seen that the Powerful Back Boxes review? I don't know when y'all came in, if you guys seen those already, but they were a lot of fun. I actually enjoyed those. And I'm not like, you know, I have to pay for the boxes, of course, on my own, so I'm not like what do you call it? Sponsored by anybody, you know, I just kind of do it because I actually enjoy doing those. They're a lot of fun. They did up the boxes from the last time I got them though. I do have to say that. I think it upped by like $2 or $3, I think, more now. Which, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me too much considering that everything ups and has been going up. So it's like, well, you can understand, but it definitely hurts the pocketbook. All right, so there's our first layer. And I can see our little strands right here, except for in here, it looks a little bit faint, but then it comes back through strong here. So maybe it'll be okay. I guess I missed that review. Yeah. Well, yeah, tomorrow I will be releasing one of the reviews for the August 2024 Powerful Pack boxes. So I'll just be reviewing that. Those are a lot of fun because not only do I go over what's in the box, like what you get, but on the second video, I do a final review. So I actually do a speed painting using only the products in that box. So it's a lot of fun because it's like I'm just coming up with stuff really quick, like on the dime, coming up with something, doing it real quick, and then just seeing how those products actually work, like if they're any good or if they're worth, you know, worth the hassle. So there has been products that I've gotten before that I'm just like, okay, you put those in the garbage. And usually whenever I do that, my daughter's running after me. No, I'll take them. I'll take them. I'm like, okay, just let you know, this is what happens. So that way, if you ever do see any of those art products and you're just like, well, at least I know what to expect, you know? Instead of paying all that money and then getting something that you're just like really upset about. You know, I know how it is and I know how much things cost, and it's just like, you don't want to be like that. Your daughter would love that, Keiko. Yeah, she would. Yeah, because they also have, and I did it once, but they've got a youth one for like, they got a powerful pack for like youth. So if you're like more for the younger teens, they do have boxes for them. And I'm not for sure if those are, I think they're a little bit cheaper because I get the bigger box, the Premier. And then they have a smaller box, like a petite powerful pack box, which is also a little bit cheaper. But on that box, they still put the same kind of items in there, except that maybe it's a little bit smaller, like you only get a little sheet of paper instead of a whole pad. Moonlight says, hi, hey, how are you? Um, but it's like still good products. So the only thing I liked about it was that if you got a petite box, like I did for my daughter, I was like, I'll just get you a petite box and I'll get me the Premier. And that way, if they give me like good stuff, like especially the stuff that's like light fast and, you know, the good stuff, like I got doubles. It's like, I don't know. I guess I'm a little greedy there, but yeah, I liked those boxes. Sometimes you get really good ones, and then sometimes you get ones that are just like, you know, they're okay, but maybe not your type. Moonlight. I'm Ice Tea's bestie. Oh, hi, how are you? So are you, let's see here, are you the one that just didn't, or just got the YouTube set up? Am I reading that right? I think it was. Yeah. Awesome. Well, welcome to have you on here. I'm always super excited when I see like new people come on. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I get really excited. Oh, great. Thank you. Aw. Let me see. That's still drying. Where did my eraser go? Here it is. Already lost my eraser. So I'm going to come through and I'm going to erase this line and we're going to continue on further down. So we are working on this color pencil piece and it definitely takes time. So if you're working on color pencil, just remember it will take time. And depending on how detailed you're wanting to get, it can take even longer. Like, I like mine to have a little bit of realism to it, but I don't like to go, like, I call it hyper realistic, you know? Like seeing every little bitty strand on something, or seeing like if somebody does a portrait and you see every little wrinkle, every little sweat, you know? I don't go into detail that much because I'm a little bit impatient of a person, so I like to get my things done pretty quick, and I can't, I don't think I can take that long on a drawing without going nuts. Because those take a long time. Okay, so we got that erased. She is. Okay, awesome. Well, that's super exciting. Yeah, I like YouTube. It's always fun, and you can kick back. You can even put it on your TV and watch it on your TV, which makes it even better too, because you can see a little bit better. I'm going to put in these dark little shadows for the thread, and then I'm going to put in my thread first instead of doing it like the other way around where I'm putting in my pink and not putting in my thread. Now I made it all the way up, and if you can see these little circles here, these are actually going to be pearls. And the other thing I was going to throw in that I just didn't think of until later was I don't even know where to put it. It might be a lesson itself. But I was almost thinking about putting like a thing of lipstick, like right in here or something. But if I did that, then it would be covering up this area here, maybe put the lid down here somewhere. But if I did that, then we would already have this done. It can easily be adjusted, and it might be a lesson for you guys too, to show that once you get this done, if you're wanting to add something back in there, you can. You would just have to erase it. I mean, we could do something like that. Got the train. Let's see here. I see. Everything is so good. Oh, thank you so much. My things are pretty messy, so see, yours, it's super perfect. Aww. No, it just takes practice. That's all it is. Just takes practice. I have artwork that, you know, doesn't look that great. I mean, when I first started out, just like working on it, it was just like, I don't know. Like, especially, I did a chickmunk, but you guys have never seen it. I don't think I've ever put it really anywhere. I'm trying to think about this. I may have put it on my Facebook at one time. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. But I did this little chickmunk and it was so bad. Like the fur on it was like the little lines going all the way across, and little lines, and it just looked like a porcupine chickmunk, and it didn't look good. Didn't look good. And then I would do like other things, but it just didn't look that great. Um, when I was younger and worked with color pencil, I didn't know you could blend them like you can with odorless mineral spirits or do the things you can with color pencil. Like I just colored with color pencil. It looked good, but I didn't know how far you could actually take it and how to do that. So I did learn um, some skills or some techniques, but I definitely had to work on it. And then once you get it, and you work in these layers, you can do anything. I mean, I'm being serious. Like, it doesn't matter if it's color pencil or acrylic paint or you name it, even charcoal, soft pastel. When you learn to work in layers, and it could be with one medium, you basically can do any of it. You can do like you can switch over and start working on acrylic paints and have something that looks realistic. All because you know of layering. You learned it from color pencil and then you took that technique of layering and you could do it with the paints once you figure out how to keep your paints wet. I mean, that's usually the dry time usually gets you. But once you learn that you how to make that stay wet and you can still work with it for long periods of time or longer periods of time, then it makes it really easy. Let me get to where I was at. So Moonlight, this is awesome. I suck at drawing stuff like this. I only draw anime-ish people. That's really cool. My son and my daughter love anime. Moonlight, my animals look like a preschooler drawed them. Oh no, that sounds like what mine was the same way. I see. Well, it's good to see how you have progressed. Yes. And then I drew a Bigfoot. And I just always liked Bigfoot. And so I drew this Bigfoot and I drew this his foot. And then I did, oh my gosh, actually I can get it for you guys. It's actually just hanging up on my wall. Uh, but yeah, it was a Bigfoot. Let me get this for you. I can always put it back. And I got made fun of for this Bigfoot by a person who told me that I needed to go back and learn anatomy because that Bigfoot that I drew was just not proportionally right. And I was like thinking to myself a little bit hurt because I was so proud of what I'd done with color pencil and work doing a Bigfoot. And I was like, really? I'm gonna have to look at something, I mean, what does a Bigfoot really look like? And how do you know that it's proportional? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they seen a Bigfoot. I don't know. So I drew this for my Bigfoot. And that was like a long time ago. And I absolutely love my Bigfoot. I don't care what anybody says. It looks like caveman unibrow there, but I like my Bigfoot. I don't care if he's not proportionally right. He's a Bigfoot. So yeah, that is my Bigfoot. And I just like I look at him and I'm like, I don't care. It's my artwork and I love it and I hang it up. So just enjoy it. Oh, yep. That is my Bigfoot. You to be proud. I was very proud of my Bigfoot. I was really proud of it. And then I got that, and then I just kept on looking at it, thinking, really, when did they see a Bigfoot? I mean, how did they know what a Bigfoot looks like unless they seen one in their backyard? Like, it made me think, could you send me a reference photo so that way I can get it right? It's so cool. I bought that. You buy that? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, I hang it up on my wall and I collect Bigfoot stuff. So, like, I got from Washington, whenever I went to Washington, or it could have been, was it Washington? Oh my goodness, I don't think it was Washington. It was, mm, Oregon, Pendleton, Oregon. And I ended up getting a caution Sasquatch crossing sign. And I put and hung him up on my wall. And then they had like air fresheners. And I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to take it and pin it up on my wall. And then I got a keychain with Bigfoot and it says my name on it, Deborah. And I'm like, I don't care. It's Bigfoot. I'm putting it up there. So I got my little Bigfoot section over there. I like Bigfoot. I mean, I don't know, but I always like that kind of stuff. I like Bigfoot. So no matter what, I mean, just keep practicing and learn to layer your drawings. Always learn to correct yourself, like learn how to correct yourself. So even if, like, let's just say I mess up on this and it doesn't look right, or I use the wrong color, learn how to fix that mistake. And if you can learn how to fix a mistake, you can really just keep going with it. I mean, you really can. I'm using this darker pink here on the bottom just to make it a little bit darker because it's kind of rounded. And I'm going lightly, not pushing down hard because we need to add another layer. I'm going to come in with my darker color and just kind of add that toward the bottom. Now there's going to be a shadow underneath of this, so when we get up into probably in here down on the ground, we're going to be adding some shadow. So that will help too with making the lines look a little bit more straighter toward the bottom. Or you could just take a ruler too if you wanted. I'm not trying to be I'm trying to be precise as I can, but sometimes I just don't have a steady hand. I mean, I can have those days, especially if you drink too much coffee or something, too much tea. Let's see here. My old friend thought she saw Bigfoot, but it turned out to be a tree with dead moss. Oh my God. Was it during the night or during the day? Like, was it like at night with a flashlight? I don't know. I like Bigfoot, but if I were to see Bigfoot, would I like freak out? Probably. Probably. I'd probably be like, I don't know, probably pass out. Okay, this kind of rounds, and then we're going to have a little bit of a lighter edge to it. Let me go ahead and change up colors here. And just get a lighter pink. I'm going to take that down, that hand rests, kind of getting in my way. Now this here is going to have a little bit of a shadow in there where it gets tucked down in here. So I'm going to lightly go with this darker color across. Okay. Take more of our lighter tone as we head out. I think I ended there with the erasing, so we want to stop there. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of this darker shade and I'm just going to kind of push that in there just a little bit, very lightly. I just want to add a tint to this color. I'm going to come through with my lighter pink and I'm just going to lightly go in circles over the top of this. And I'm going to have to get in a little bit tinier circles here in just a little bit and use the point of my pencil in order to fill in some of those areas. I still got a little bit of that pearl in there. I won't blend that yet. Oh, it was at nighttime. It was super late. So she was seeing things. Oh no. Oh, I would be so scared. I like Bigfoot. Don't get me wrong. I like Bigfoot, but I would still be scared. I don't know. The best Bigfoot that I can think of for a movie to make a Bigfoot of is Harry and the Hendersons. I absolutely love that movie. That is like my all-time favorite Bigfoot movie is Harry and the Hendersons. Like if there was a real Bigfoot, I would like in my mind I would think Harry, you know, it's got to be Harry. He is my favorite. And if you haven't seen Harry and the Hendersons, definitely it's a must watch. It is really really good, and I can't remember when that movie was made. Probably was made, I don't know, it could have been made in the around the time that I was like, I don't know, it could have been made right around Ghostbusters time or something. Let's see here. Icy's phone died, so she'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay. Oh no. Hey, I've had that happen. I understand. So we're just putting in some of these darker colors right in here, just kind of making it a little bit more richer of a tone, especially down there. I may want to put a little bit as we're going up, maybe closer to the strands. But then I want to take and use my lighter pink to go over this again a second time. I'm going very lightly and working in circles. Now this paper, I can tell you, I don't know why I decided in my right mind to use this paper. I do believe that it's probably one of the worst papers to probably use with color pencil. Like, I'm almost thinking that I picked up, let's see here. Okay, that's fine, Moonlight. That's perfectly fine. I can understand too. It's like, oh my gosh, you mentioned food now, you make me hungry. I'm like, okay, now I'm hungry too. But the paper that I chose, I really do believe that it is this paper, like Bristol Smooth, which is really a poor choice of paper to use for color pencil. It doesn't blend that well. You would be fighting with the paper more than what you should be. The blendability would probably not be as good. A lot of factors on that. Why I decided in my right mind to pick it up, I don't know. I mean, I'm already working with a paper that has so little tooth to it. So your layering, you probably won't be able to get as many layers as you should. But we've been making do with it, and so far it's like, it's been turning out okay. I just know that the blending and how I'm working with this would have been a little bit better. I'm going to add in this darker tone again. Okay. And then I'm going to go back through on this and add in these little bitty dark spots or shadows for where the little sewing stitches are. Try not to go cross-eyed while I do it. Whew. My eyes are really bad with focus. Putting those back in. I think that's where we went to before we stopped. We stopped blending right in there. So I'm going to go back through. Add some of these darker tones to the bottom where the shadow would be. This is a second layer on this part. Okay, that looks good. Oops. This looks like it's about done with the layering on it. So we'll have to blend this out with odorless mineral spirits. Let's take some of this darker color. You definitely want to add that to the bottom. Okay, so that should be good. Now I definitely need to come back through and add in my lighter thread colors on top. So when I do come back through and blend with the odorless mineral spirits, these will still be there. And oh yeah, you're being able to see them a little bit better after I blended with odorless mineral spirits the first time. I've been trying to say it, I've been trying to say it odorless mineral spirits instead of saying OMS. I've had a habit of being lazy, and when I say OMS instead of odorless mineral spirits, it coming out like saying an old mess. An old mess. And that's just because I get lazy and it ends up sounding that way. So I've been trying to say it like actually just saying it instead of abbreviating it. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to lightly blend this, but I'm not going to use that much odorless mineral spirits. It's going to be very light. I made sure to dab it off quite a bit because I do not want to remove. I just want to lightly blend what I got on my paper. So there we go. I don't want to remove too much of it. Just want to lightly blend. Now for this part that I've only done one layer on, I'm going to use just a little bit more odorless mineral spirits on it just because it's my first blend and I want to make sure to get that smooth and evenly blended out. What are we doing on the time? Doing pretty good. We might actually get done with this leather piece all the way around, which is really kind of nice. I don't want to go too close to that because we're going to have to erase that pearl. So I'm going to stop short of it, because you don't want to get that saturated with odorless mineral spirits and then go on top of it with your electric eraser and tear up your paper. Which I don't know. In my case, this paper that I'm using probably wouldn't tear it up, considering it is tough enough to handle markers, like ink markers, and be able to work and blend with ink markers. Gosh, it shows around paper. I don't even know why I did it. It was just one of those days where I just picked it up and wanted white paper. It's like, sure, why don't I just do it on this? Hey, at least you know one thing. At least it can be done. So, I feel like it can still be done. Okay, we got that erased. And so now I'm going to continue in and around. So we're going to use our light pink. Oops. Did I really have to do that? Good job, Deborah. Yeah, all right. Oh, jeez. Like, this is 101 what not to do. You don't want to beat your painting to death with a eraser brush. Jeez. Getting feisty with my brush. Okay, so we got that rounded with my lighter pink. And this here is still going to be a darker color. Put that right there. So let's take this. I'm going to take my glove real quick. That way I can get more of a smoother feel, or a smoother it's going to be a little bit darker on this side too, so we're going to keep it dark. Wondering what I did with that. Let me see if I can't pull out my perfection eraser here. Got a little bit of a uneven edge there, and I don't really care for it too much. And I don't know if I can cover it up. Let me make this a little bit thicker. There we go. And it'll cover up that line. And now I'm going to take this color here. This is my darker of my shades. It is the burnt carmine, I think I'm using here. I'm just going to round the edge and just make this a whole lot darker. I'm going to come through with more of this even darker tone. I don't want to take it all the way up. I just want to like put it right in here. I also want to take it extend that along the bottom. And don't worry with these edges, because if it looks a little bit uneven, that's fine. I can still go through whenever I create this shadow, and I can kind of take some of that dark into this area and kind of even that out a little bit if I needed to. But other than that, I'm fine with it. So now we're going to take our darker of our pinks here. Well, actually, let me go back to this darker tone. Where's my eraser, or where's my sharpener? We want to make the thread marks before I forget, and then that way my thread marks are not like disappearing. So we got our little ones here. That'll need to be a second time on that. Okay. I'm going to take my light pink white here. Sharpen that up just a little bit. I don't want it too sharp. And I'm going to stick in my light pink white, pinkish white. And put those in. Now you can barely see it. If not, you won't be able to see it almost at all. Like, it's nearly feels like you're putting in something invisible in there. But that's fine, because once you color over it lightly with a light pink and then you use your odorless mineral spirits, this will instantly show up. So so it should be fine. I'm going to use this darker of my pinks here to go around the edge. This is also going to have a shadow too. I don't know if it's on this, is it? Yeah, it's got a little bit of a shadow on there. Pick this darker color. I'm going to do some little circles and make this a little bit darker. I'm going to take my lighter pink. I have to sharpen it. Okay. I want that to still have the darker pink in there. So we're going to come through, and I'm going to take that darker pink a little bit further out. And then I'm just going to kind of taper it back in. I'm going to take my lighter pink here and kind of intermerge them together. Very lightly going over this, okay? I'm using a very light hand, just working in some really bigger circles with this. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks about right. Putting in this lighter pink in here, but just going really light with it. The shadow for this pearl would probably be out here, is where the shadow would be coming out. This one here would be in there. So we could easily just come in here and just add some of this darker tone in here. And just kind of stream it across. There we go. Looks about right. Okay. So now we're going to come through and we'll need to blend this out with odorless mineral spirits, and then we'll have to go over it one more time before we can call that done. Okay, right in here, this is our first blend. So I'm using more of my odorless mineral spirits. I'm wiping it off still. I'm not drenched coming from the odorless mineral spirits directly to it. I am dabbing it off. I don't want it dripping wet. But I am going to have a lot more on my first blend than I will on my second blend. Let's try and get that underneath there. Okay, let's try and get that. Okay. Almost got our first layer blended here, and while this dries, we'll go back and work on our second layer. On this little portion here. So that looks good. Oops. Now let's come through and work on this again. It should be dry by now. Okay, let me make sure that I got this. Definitely darkened up a little bit. Come through with our mid-tone here. Okay. And then I'll take out my lighter color. Add that, and then go back to my mid-tone. It's kind of like a little bit darker of a shade. Maybe go a step darker. And add a solid line in there. Go back to my light color. Maybe I want to add some of that light color in here. And if you want to, and you see any kind of areas that maybe you just want to go over it one more time just to add another layer to it, you can. As long as your paper is taking on more layers and allowing you to add layers, then you're perfectly fine. You can add as many layers as you're wanting. Usually the more layers you do, it definitely helps. Okay, looks like this here got a little bit duller with my odorless mineral spirits, so I just want to go back over this again. I may not blend it out, I may just keep it the way it is. I'm going to come back through and do the same. And that's the thing. I mean, you just, if it looks good and you don't feel like you want to blend it another time, then you can leave it. There is nothing saying that you have to blend it out. Artwork is only, it's as good as what you want, is what you see as good. If you see it as that you're totally excited about it and you like the way it looks, then it's done. I mean, it's up to you, the artist. Don't ever think that, you know, it has to be set in stone what you have to do. Keep your mind open at all times. Don't let anybody tell you that, you know, it has to be done a certain way. You know, you have to do 2 or 3 layers or anything like that. The only reason why I'm doing it is just because it needed another layer from what I see. But if you are doing artwork and you're like, well, I did 2 layers, I mean, but it still looks like I need another one, but I think I'm only supposed to do 2. Don't do it. Just do another one if you need to. Like, don't let that stop you. Or if you want your work to look a certain way, then you're going to have to do it a little different. I mean, it's totally up to you. If you want your artwork to have a little bit more of that gritty, you know how everybody's like blend it out so it doesn't look gritty grainy. You don't want that gritty grainy look. Sometimes you might be doing artwork that requires it to have that gritty grainy look to it because that's what makes it look good. So you may end up wanting it to look that way. So it's totally up to you, the artist. I would say there's just no right or wrong way to doing it. The only thing I would say is there is right and wrong would be if you're doing like oil paints and then you add like a water-based paint on top of it, like acrylics. I mean, it's gonna crackle. It's not really archival unless, well, I mean, it can be, but I mean, you don't want it to crackle. But let's just say your intention was to make it crackle. You wanted your artwork to crackle. Well, then you actually could, you know, you can do that. So, I mean, it's all up to you, the artist. Now, I blended that out. It still needs to dry. this here. I'm going to blend this out. I'm actually going to come on top of it like this and just blend it across. Okay. And that really does look, that looks good. I'm happy with that. Somebody on their motorcycle. I'm going to go over this one more time. And then we got to choose colors for the interior part of the person here. Yay, we get to move along. Actually making really good time. So choosing colors. I like choosing colors. Okay. Let me use this darker color. I'm going to go in little circles, just kind of blend in. I still have a light hand, don't have a heavy hand. Don't want to burnish. Stay away from burnishing. Unless you're wanting to add a line in there that you do not want it to go away. Okay, I'm going to take this darker it's like carmine, purple, violet. Okay, just wanted to make that a little bit darker. Very lightly, I'm going to put in this mid-tone kind of pink color. Right in here, it needs a little bit more. It feels like it might need a little bit more dry time to that. Don't really listen very well. Going super light over it. Okay. This is more of the darker area in here. And then I want to take my lighter of my pink and I want to go in on top of this. Maybe even mix some in here. I mean, we could even add a little bit of our white pink to the edge of this here, just to make sure it stays kind of like at a lighter color. And if you get to this little line where you had darker, I would just put the line right below that darker line. May not show up really too much, but that's fine. And we'll end up coloring this in, so that should be okay. I'm just going to pick this up and use it the way it is. I didn't dip this in odorless mineral spirits. It just had some already on it, so I'm just going to use it. Whatever was left on the brush. I'm not scrubbing really hard neither. Just lightly going over it. Okay. So I'm really happy with that. So now we can take it on to the next step, which is working on this areas here. Because I do believe that's all the leather that's on there. Now, if I need to go back in, which I might, and put in even darker lines or darker shadows in here, then I can do that. But we already created a shadow here, which definitely gave it more of a depth kind of look. So now you got that 3D kind of look where it looks like this here has got a shadow and it's kind of hanging above it. I like it. So really do like that. So I'm going to put these pencils off to the side because now let me put this here. Maybe you guys can see it just a little bit. Good job, Deborah. I do not want the brand of the purse. I know this purse is like branded with the C's. I do not want that. I'm just looking at basically the interior color of it. I like, it's not as pink as this, basically. And you could actually choose like more of a kind of like a lighter violet kind of color. That says burnt sienna. Do I even have that? Looks like I marked them out. Let me see some other colors here on what I'm thinking. 083. I like that one. What is that in my Carandash? Let's see what that is. These are all my Caradashes here. Oop, I've only got one. There went light fast. Oops, don't need you. Let's see here, what color is that? 083, unless I took it and didn't put it back. Yeah, I'm not seeing any here, but I really think that a violet, like a really light violet, would be really good. Hibiscus pink, 094. No, that's way too dark. I'm thinking more of a burnt sienna 862. That just didn't turn out very good. I'm thinking more purpley for some reason. Even though it is pink, I'm thinking more of a light violet. So, like this one, 083. Okay, there it is. Excuse me. I kind of like that color. And if it seems a little bit too bright, which it could be, then again, 630 doesn't pretty. I smell chocolate. I don't know why I smell chocolate, but I smell chocolate. Okay, 630. That was that purpley kind of color. But if I take these and combine them with a lighter pink, maybe. Oh, wait. I've got one in my light fast ones. I think it's called Oyster. Yeah. Oyster. I might be able to lighten it a little bit. Let's see what salmon. Salmon. Yeah, that's more of a pink. Let's try those, and then for my darker colors, we can just put in like a darker. Maybe 94. I don't see it anywhere. Find it. That color here. This is more of a purpley one too, but I think it's too purpley. Yeah, well, I'll just keep that out. Yeah, I have no clue. 0.95. We could do that. We could add this one. This would be more like a darker purple, maybe. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, I like that. Okay, we got some colors going on here, but I'm not saying I'm going to use every single one of these. We back. Yay. Sorry it took a while. No, you guys are perfectly fine. Definitely get something to eat. I know I would. We had just got done with the little leather so far, and I was just doing some color choosing choices on the interior part. So we don't want to make, I don't want to make like the actual brand of the purse on there. I just want to go with more of a solid kind of color for the inside, and then just make some sort of like texture to it so that way it looks like it's got that texture. But I'm picking out some new colors here. I'm picking out some purples. I'm hoping I don't know where I did with my glassine. Let's see if I can't stick a piece of paper. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. We are going to go ahead and do a color chart because I really like color charts. Plus that, I'd like to just kind of see exactly what these colors look like if I can blend them and just tone them down a little bit, because I don't really have the right color. Like there's some that are just a little bit too purpley, and if I add pink on top of it, I may be able to blend those down a little bit. So let me do, yeah, it's big enough. Okay, so we got Carandash here. And then on this side, it is the Derwent Light Fast. So, let me stick those off to the side. We got 1, 1, 2. Whoa. I don't know how I did that. Make the whole thing shake. It's like earthquake. Okay. Let's do this one. It's a little bit lighter. 083. Okay. The next one is 630. Now this one here is like an ultramarine violet. The other ones were ultramarine pink and magnesium, magnese violet. Magnese? I don't know. I don't even like reading them. Just sometimes they put some really hard words in there and I don't even know how to read. I feel illiterate. I probably am illiterate. I probably need to read more. Okay. And then the other one is 095. So we got some different shades. Now this really dark purple that I was going to use is going to be basically the kind of like where you got the dark, where the thread, like the hatch marks kind of go. It's going to be the darker. It's going to be the darker one. Okay. And now this one here, since I Do not have numbers on these Derwent Lights vests. This one here is salmon, salmon, salmon. I don't know. However you guys like to pronounce that. I am always the person to pronounce something wrong. I am always that person. If you know that type of person that pronounces everything wrong, yeah, that's me. I'm like, I want some salmon. I'm like, what? The salmon? Salmon? Salmon. And then oyster. We are sticking with those sea creatures, aren't we? Sea creatures pink. Yeah, you can barely even see that one, but that's okay. That's kind of like my pink white that I was using. Let me put this back. Okay, so I was wanting to tone down some of these purples. So if I were to take like that one's already kind of got a pinky kind of tone to it. That's fine. So if I want to use this one and it ends up being a little bit too pink, then you should be able to come on top of it with, this is like a little bit dark. Maybe this one. More of a lighter color, like more of a purple. Yeah, you can tone that down a little bit. And maybe add some salmon to it, make it a little bit more pinker. Or even add a white to it to kind of dull it down a little bit. So, I mean, you can blend your colors and you can change your colors just by blending. You can make it more pink, you can make it more purpley color. Me too. And then you could do, let's see here, like these little lines. They're like hatch marks. So they almost go like this. Like if you did a line of these, then the second line would be like in between them. And then that would be in between those. And then this would be in between them. That's kind of like the hatch marks or hash marks that they're doing. Yeah. So we'll probably stick with something like that. Like those little hatch marks. Oops. So I definitely want to put my little hash marks in first. I don't know if you could actually draw them any other way. I don't want to get too complicated with it. I really don't. So let's go ahead and looks like we got a thread that comes through here on the top and it's a shade darker. So let's get my eraser out and let's start erasing this. I'm hoping I can get into this. We got about 20 minutes and I definitely want to get this started. So and just if this ends up taking a really long time or I see that it's going to take a really long time to do, even if I do like a little section of it, then I'll just do it on my own free time so that way we can be ahead of the game. But if I really don't get to too much of it, then we'll just we'll do it on the next live stream. I know we got a shadow in here too. This is not hatch marks. This, I need to make thread marks. They are there. You just can't see the thread very well, but you can definitely see that there's a little bit of a shadowing around it. So I'm probably going to come through here and lightly go on top of it with some of my darker purple. I pushed down a little bit harder for those little seam lines, and then I'm going on top just barely a little bit of this darker purple anyway. Now the top of that may not be as accurate of a line, and you can't really see the thread marks up on the top of this. So I'm just going to go with more of my pinkish purple here like we did before. I'm not making any kind of like texture or anything with this. Really would like this to be a little bit more even, but a little lighter. So let's take our light oyster. I'll make sure that that is. That line needs some adjustment. Let's take, where's my other pink? Now, if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm taking that pink that I used before because this is the zipper area. And I want to make sure that that is accurately a little bit more straighter and even than what I had drawn out my line previously. So I'm using this like more of the zipper color to just kind of put that in. That way I know it's there. I'll end up changing that around later. So I don't want to fidget with it too much. I want more of this pinkish, purpley kind of look in here. And then I'm going to take it down below those little stitch lines. Okay. Oh, these two. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Oh, well, thank you so much, Iced Tea. Thank you, Moonlight. I really want this to be more I'm going to do this a little bit different. We're going to make some longer lines. Just to make some texture. Let's see how this looks. Because like I said, I don't want to make this like hyper realistic and try and get every little stitch in there. But I definitely want it to have a little bit of texture. So I'm just kind of drawing in these little random lines. I smell chocolate. Maybe it's the light. I don't know. Like every time I smell like, you ever had that chapstick that was like that chocolate or Hershey's like chapstick that smells like that artificial chocolate kind of thing? Like a Tootsie Roll, like the Tootsie Roll chocolate flavor. Yeah, like for some reason I'm smelling like artificial chocolate for some reason. It is really, really strange. I mean, not that it's a bad thing or anything, but it is definitely strange. I'm gonna kind of scroll through with this. This is that pinkish, purpley kind of look. This is more of a darker purple kind of look. I'm going to go through and just make some more lines in here using this color. I just want it to look more textured, but I don't want it to all be dark. I'm going to use all the colors. Except for when we get toward the top, I don't really want to use those. And if you're wondering, like, I'm not working in circles anymore, and the reason why I'm not really working in any circles right now is because I want it to have a gritty, grainy look. I want it to be more gritty, grainy. I do not want no smooth textures. I definitely want it to... Let's try and get this layer a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and give this more of a shadow. I am going to work a little bit more smoother on this area here where the little stitches would be. Let's use my Derwent Chinese White, go on top of it. So I'm just adding in a bunch of layers is all I'm doing, and just kind of going back and forth. This is the lighter pink, pinkish purple. Adding more of a base color to it, that way I can still blend a little bit. Now on any of the lines that I was adding, like making those marks, I was pushing down a little bit harder than whenever I use them to go in circles and make like like whenever I was using, well, basically like whenever I made my layer like this, I was going in circles, that's to give it a shade. But if I come through and I'm making these marks and I'm kind of pushing down, then basically I'm not shading anymore, and I'm leaving a little bit of an indent. I'm kind of burnishing a little bit when I'm leaving these marks because I want these marks to stay. I want them to be like whenever you blend, I don't want them to blend out. Like I want them to just appear from after I get through blending. I mean, we could add a little bit of some marks in here too, I guess. All right, let's see how this turns out. We're going to go ahead and blend this top portion out. We got 9 minutes. And we'll see what we need to adjust. So I'm making sure I got enough of the odorless mineral spirits on here before I go to blending. And if I need to darken anything, I will. If I need to lighten anything, I can lighten it a little bit. I don't think I really need to lighten too much. We're going to have to do several layers on this part here to get it to look the way we want it. Okay, so that looks really, really rough, but I can see a lot of my lines. I'm almost thinking that whenever it dries, since this color here, I do kind of like it, but if we put some light, like let's just say some white, and put some little white dots kind of coming in there, it'll kind of bring some of this texture out. So we could actually do that. I just really want that to dry. Okay, so I want to continue on down doing the same thing. Oh, we're getting close to that part that probably needs to be erased. Let me erase that. So I don't think we're going to get done with this part enough to where I can show you guys on how the texture process goes or the layering in that. Because right now it's always going to look a little rough, but you just got to keep working with it. So I see a lot of potential for it, just not where I want it at this point. Still needs a couple more layers. Just kind of going through here. Adding some texture. Okay. We'll do a shade of that pinkish yellowish or pinkish purplish color. Now I am going in circles with this because I definitely want it to be more of my base layer tone. Like have this covered. Just with the light hand, you definitely don't want to burnish this part. Going with the light hand over the top of it, kind of shading it in. Okay, and now we're going to use these other colors to kind of add in. This one needs to be sharpened, but we're going to add in more lines, more texture. That should be good. And I am going to push down a little bit on my lines here, so that way I'm kind of burnishing in some of these lines. Because if there's anything that stays whenever we're trying to blend this in, that's perfectly fine. I'm good with texture. Okay, then we're going to go through and we're going to do the same thing with this other color here. It's like we got a few more minutes left. We might be able to blend this out and see if the other one is not too wet, that I can add the highlight to it to kind of show you what it could look like. But I probably want to add a whole nother layer to it before we get to that point. It's just I want to see how it looks. Testing it out. Okay, now that I did that, I'm going to go through and I'm going to add another layer of our pinkish purple here. Let's go ahead and blend this out. Who knows? Maybe by the time I get through this with this, it might look like a zebra striped purse. That would be kind of cool, you know? Have like zebra stripes in pink and purplish kind of color. I definitely didn't want to add in the logo or the brand to it. I just was like, nah, I don't like that. I've had this purse for a really long, or at least for quite a while, and I just kept it put up nice. So I wanted it to look a little bit more aged in this than what it is normally, because I don't ever take out my purses. Like, I would collect purses and I would just store them. Like, I like collecting them and then keeping them nice. The only time I ever take it out is maybe for a nice day, like if going out or doing something, then maybe I might take out my purse, like my nice purses. But other than that, I usually just keep them in a bag in my closet, set up, like no dust. So I'm one of those type that just likes to collect and admire. Don't really use them. It's like, I'll just have my collection. My mom was a collector of purses. She loved to collect purses. Maybe I got that part from her. She was a big purse collector. Like, if she could get herself one purse, like like either a year or whatever, she would try and get herself a purse. So then I used to be like, okay, I'll save up throughout the year and I'll just get me one purse. Okay, now that ain't what I wanted. Let's go with a lighter color. Where's that other lighter color that we used before? Maybe that oyster, what is it? This pinkish, pink white? Let's use it. Hopefully my paper is dry enough to take this, and we'll just see what happens. Let's see what happens. I don't want to do it everywhere because we still have to add another layer to this. But like, ooh. It's too sharp and too much. I want it to be a little bit duller. Let's use the Chinese white, because you see the Chinese white is a very, very soft pencil, and it's more rounded at the tip. It's like not as pointed, because that way it'll give me more of a thicker line. That looks good. And it's not showing up as good as, I mean, it's still showing up good, but it's not showing up as good as what it would be if I had another layer down. And some of it is still a little bit wet. but it's definitely adding in the texture and the little seam lines in there. I like that. I want that to be dark. I'm going to take some gray and just kind of shadow that in there. Ah, there. And then this is oyster. Just kind of put that in there just a little bit. And then we can end up doing this again. So what we would do is just basically we would take like our purpley white, we would go back over this again. I definitely want to take my darker color like we did before. And we're going to go through this again. See, each time that you draw lines or you make lines in here, you're going to end up making more texture. You're going to make more, like, they're going to end up looking smaller, like you got a lot more of them. Which is exactly what I want. After we add these lines in there, I don't want to go too far, because then we're going to be crossing into the area that's still needing to dry a little bit more. I think it's like right in there. Yeah, the more layers you do and adding in this, the more you're going to have a smaller condensed texture. I'm going to go ahead and shade this in some more. Okay. And then I'll go through and blend it out. Oh, we're already a little bit over. I went over. Oops. Just having way too much fun with it, that's why. That looks better. And even though it looks like a little bit darker than what my reference photo looks, by the time I get done doing this whole entire pattern all the way down, doing this, it's going to look like this top part. But I keep doing this whole pattern all the way down here. And then when you add in your little white marks for like the pop of the thread, because these are like little threads popping out. So if I did like little bitty threads popping out all over here and do a whole bunch of lines, then you're going to have more of a lighter look kind of popping through. So Um, I guess what I could do for you guys, so that way we can kind of speed this up for next week, because you don't want to see me do a bunch of lines. But I'll go ahead and do these lines all the way down on both sides, and then I'll blend it out with OMS for the first layer. And then on the second layer, I'll go ahead and do this, so it'll be this dark all the way here, all the way here. And then we'll do the white for popping, making the lines, like the threads kind of popping out from this, and lighten it up. So that will be next week. Next week, I'll have this all done, and we'll be working on doing the white little lines on this part, like all the way down to make those pop, and then we'll work ahead. So that way we can keep up the momentum on this drawing. So, yep, I guess my time is done for this. This was super, super exciting. I absolutely love working on this. And remember to click the like. If any of you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. If you guys want to join on my Patreon, I do have Patreon. Link is in the description below. And I do have a free member part of the Patreon. So I have one video on each medium that you can watch for free, but then I also come up with each month like a theme of the month that you guys can do, and you can post that over on my Facebook artist group. So, so much fun, and I am had so much blast. I had a really good, or I don't even know how to talk anymore. It's getting too late. Jeez, Deborah. All right, so I had a blast, and thank you so much, Ice Tea and Moonlight and Keiko, for joining the live stream. I hope to see you all here next week if you can make it. If not, that's perfectly fine. But until next time, you guys, bye.